I dedicate the political ideology of Anbu Udayam party to our Republic of India and my fellow 147 crore citizens. Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu, President, Anbu Udayam Party. Before every election, people, they make such very casually allegations opposition parties against the ruling party, and conduct it as politics in 365 days in the year in the country. After the change of government at the party's level in the country, these corrupt people, bribe takers and fraudsters etc. having committed all these kinds of criminal acts, they have been making people such same allegations against again and again continuously each other one by one. Through media. Before, this opposition party that made the allegations on ruling party is now after the election the next ruling party, or at some time both of these parties it may even so remain in its positions. But administratively any one departmental action at the time officially is not taken against the persons concerned allegations in the position at the stage of the ruling party as a government. They are challenging to the judiciary and also to the citizens of the voters in election by those who are being members of the Union Parliament and State Legislative Assembly, saying that if a government takes departmental executive action by them based on the allegations just like this, they will take action in court, parliament, legislature and execution handling in this both sides without vary the ruling party and opposition party. They are playing with media to the people in political and election arena. But at the same time politically provide the news to the media press interview to bring out this to the people. Afterwards they make political alliance with these parties in the election. These are the media news daily for the people. This events held in front of the people daily. It exposes to 147 crore fellow people in the democratic country India that there is without fear of those parties about this. This only is democratic political circle of the party routinely around the election for the rule and for representatives of the people for 5-year term periods once. President of the Anbu Udayam Kachchi Sembootsei M.Subash Babu mine, don't like this day-to-day the politics. I don't know how these political parties, as ruling party and opponent parties, they shamelessly do make this a political issue by putting forward to the people continuously again and again one another such trivial matters. I don't know how they do shamelessly play as a politics with such petty matters. I don't know how can they shamelessly participate in elections so boldly by conducting this petty politics. I don't know how they do shamelessly meet people with keeping such petty matters politics and canvassing in election. I don't know how can media, they do shamelessly through their magazines, television channels and radio channels, social medias stir to publish and to broadcast and to bring out to the readers and viewer of their subscribers, those parties who are to the people as their fellow citizens of the democratic country, this too political and electiony petty news. I don't know how people, they do shamelessly as a citizens in the democratic country India. Citizens as a voter in the election and as a subscribes of their readers and viewer in the media and social media accept all those petty news of those political parties, all these things also as their politics and election activities in the arena. But, when I see looking at the place to this mass as a citizens of this democratic country and mine as a Democrats, political parties that are making audience listen to everything they say on stage as politics, that are making people believe each other as rival parties, all the hurling insult and accusations as politics. Media that are making this party as a readers read through the media, magazine, newspapers, journals, all the news is politics about them. That are making people as a viewer watch too through television and social media, all the broadcasts, advertisement and promotion program, everything is politics. that are making people as a listeners listen through the radio to all the news as politics, and that are making people as a citizens trust all the promises made of these parties during electioneering as politics, that are making citizens as a voters who are casting vote for these parties for this newsmakers of this political party, and citizens as a voters who are making them to win as candidates the elections as politics, and participating them as their representatives in government. And it is as a situation that where these Democrats as a citizens can be easily brainwashed, fooled like this in politics and in election through media, these two people which is in the Union Parliament and state legislatures in democratic country. And it's nothing too surprising that when as a ordinary citizens without knowing any politics the democracies are ready to deceive like this. These two parties members with the support of media they can contest as a candidate as many elections as they want throughout their lives in the name of politics. Although I, who knew clearly all this whole matters about of these two parties which is in the Union Parliament and states legislature before entering into politics. I entered the politics with a strong political policy decision. Anbu Udhayam Kachchi have to change, can change all of this through electoral participation. But in practice, there is no politics at all in this political parties and in the media in the field. Also there is no politics in between that political party, it has only merely separatism. I thought so that each party, they are trying to present some kind of separatism to the people. They are trying to bring it about in party-wise in the political arena. They think we follow the same practice in election arena. But that's they are in practice too implementing in it that I only found out after I got on the field. The president of Anbu Udayam Kachchi Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu. I see that this is being systematically conveyed the daily as a news to the people through the media like this is planned by these political parties, these things only. They call politics that I think. I have already submitted to you here about the politically administratively difficulties faced by the Anbu Udayam Kachchi. At every period and at every stage one see that they are pending as files in the government departments on the basis of their respective matters. If I am recording all these things now here before you, the Election Commission of India, in the democratic country India, it does not mean that I have completely failed in politics as a Democrat. It does not mean that I have lost in election as a politician. It does not mean in democracy that I have been defeated by them ruler by his party with democratically. Due to the anarchic actions of those in power, rule, the ruling party, the representatives of the people, in the government under the protection of the government. As a citizen ordinary of a democratic country, India, Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu, I have withdrawn myself from the field to ensure at my level my individual safety within our country. I have to admit the reality that I have been driven out of politics by because of the atrocities, anarchy, and injustices like this committed by the political criminals, political thugs, anti-socialists, traitors, outlaws and anti-democrats hiding under the guise of democrats from their positions of power being under the protection of the government. By administrative irregularities and frauds, by their illegal administrative actions, and by the non-political injustice and by the undemocratic activities in the improper administrative manner they have committed. In the social structure, people are divided in some way or another based on caste, religion, race, gender, language, region, culture, clan, and ancestry. All people in the world fall from within these social divisions. No one is an exception in this. While the social structure divides people in this manner, those who, within the political framework that is supposed to unite people by transcending these divisions, reintroduce these divisions politically among the people and conduct politics based on them at the party level, disrupt the peace of mind of the nation's people and undermine their unity. If people with such a mindset hold positions as the government, rulers, and representatives of the people in a democratic country, how can we say that they will create a peaceful environment, provide security, maintain, and work for the welfare of the people within this social structure through their administrative actions? In the Republic of India, as a complete Democrat, I wished to conduct politics and contest elections on behalf of the Anbu Udhayam under my honest political leadership. But they did not allow me freely to do so. The truth here is that I did not fail in my politics. I was defeated by them, the ruling party's anarchic, precisely because I acted as a complete Democrat. Within the government structures, departmental administration system, everything is in order. When these rulers, who are representatives of the people, are honest in this, government administration will be activated properly. At the same time, the Anbu Udhayam will ensure that administration functions smoothly at the official level in government departments, that law and order are fully maintained in the state through the police, and that victims receive due relief through the judiciary. In democratic country India, as a citizen, being in the president of Anbu Udhayam which is registered by the Election Commission of India, they did not allow me to carry out my natural political activities in the political arena. They did not allow me to participate fully in politics. They did not let me to function freely in elections. They did not authorize me to make such democratic contributions safely. They did not permit me to access government departments administratively at the official level. Even when the Anbu Udhayam brings these issues to the relevant any departmental levels within the government structure and registers them there, the ruling party attempts to suppress them through the police, all in its. No one administrative action has been taken at the official level by the concerned administrative departments based on these government office files of the Anbu Udhayam When we look at these activities of the representatives of the people, elected by the voters in this democratic country of the Republic of India, and consider all these matters, they appear to the Anbu Udhayam as the actions as like of political criminals, political thugs, anti-socialists, traitors, separators and anti-democrats, etc. If I have to criticize these kinds of people's representatives engaged in these matters here, then at the same time, I must criticize even more a bit harshly my fellow people. My fellow citizens of voters too, who are elected these representatives in those elections. Because, their representatives in government, who they elected by that people through that elections. Those responsible will be for all the difficulties that our Anbu Udhayam faced in politics and elections. In these situations, in these matters, whom should I blame in the democratic country India? Should I blame as a fellow citizens of my fellow voters who did not choose a perfect person as their representative from among the candidates who contested in the elections? Or, at the same time, should I blame fellow citizens as the fellow people, because the activities of their representatives who elected resemble as like the actions of political criminals, political thugs, anti-social elements, traitors, separators and anti-democratic forces, etc.? Or, should I blame the medias, namely magazines, television channels and radio channels, social media that gave importance to such individuals and conveyed daily their political and electoral exclusive main as like messages to the people like this? Oh, should I blame the election officials who conducted the elections? Why should not conduct properly and why provided opportunities only to them to participate freely in this? Whom should I blame here? In a democratic country India, where equal opportunities should be provided to all as per constitution, what, where justice is there for the victims in election as per Representative of the People Act, that these are the numbers of questions that the president of the Anbu Udhayam Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu I raises I present to my approximately two-thirds of 98 crore fellow citizens of voters who are voting in the election in the democratic country India. In the democratic country India, our defense forces, solid as personnel, on the one hand, stationed in the border regions of our country of India, are fighting day and night to protect the nation from trespass, infiltration, aggression, usurpation and acts of war from foreign countries to our own country, from neighboring countries, and from infiltration and violence perpetrated by terrorists, and to maintain peace, security and tranquility in the country. The police, on the other hand, domestically are striving to protect the people from anti-social elements, social criminals and social thugs, etc., to maintain peace among the people, and to uphold the state law and order. Furthermore, the judiciary, on the other hand, is working to identify and confirm social criminals, thugs, traitors and anti-social elements, etc. through legal processes, based on documents, witnesses, and evidence, to punish the culprits according to the nature of the crimes, and to prevent crimes in the country. Thus, in the government structure, all these departments within the government and other executive departments are diligently working at their respective levels to ensure the welfare and security of a nation and its people, and to prevent any injustice from befalling the country, its people, their welfare, and security. However, citizens in the democratic country should be aware and feel the democratically political right, duty and responsibility to elect their representatives through elections to govern the country, so that their welfare and security of our nation and our fellow citizens are ensured by the government citizens as the voters who have elected. But, thus, when any of this is compromised, conflicted by the actions of their elected representatives during that 5-year term in office, there is no need for us, as the citizens, to resort to politically to come out in public and publicly express our resistance to them like this by raising slogans in struggles, protests, hunger, strikes, demonstrations, processions, condemnations, lockdown, rallies and road blockades, etc. to fight against their corrupt, scam, scandals, irregularities, etc. actions. In a democracy, we, the masses of citizens of this country, do not need to sacrifice any one of our political rights, political freedom and political protection to the ruling party to take action on ourselves through police on the basis of law and order to express our opposition against these illegal, undemocratic, etc. activities of our elected representatives of them. I, the President of Anbu Udhayam, have given the path to people about politics. Also in this way each citizen have to handle the politics safety in election in democratic country. I and the democratic country citizens do not make yourselves followers to anything and at any person. At the same time do not make any one person or think anything as a brand name in any field. That is the main thing in country democracy. It will create your brand in this in that field. The stigma will be created that I am that field. After this no one should not get any opportunity in that field. It will create a barrier for other in that field. This is one way to keep equality among all of them. In this way only you will bring the equality in the society among our people in all level. On the basis of Anbu Udhayam political exposition in election to the citizens. In a democratic country every citizen has that rare opportunity to change for their peaceful activism. Citizen as a voter in their each individual silenced operation in one day decisive exploding against their representatives. Rulers rule once every 5-year term periods through elections if they are exposing in election to the citizens as satisfied with them without exposing any frankly at their term periods. In this democratic system, while in election, every citizen freely can be uncomplicated, easy makes like their own and personal political decisions, and can be set themselves from mentally their lives in a prosperous, safe, and peaceful environment after the elections created in the country. In a democracy, every citizen has the opportunity to change the country's situation to their liking, in conjunction with the majority. When each citizen's democratic contribution is directed towards our fellow people others, and everyone participates in this process of transformation, a socially based democratic resolution emerges in country level, that the president of Anbu Udayam Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu I seeks to unite people in this way in a democratic country India in future widely as world. That's what it's for. Elections are held every 5-year periods once continuously in a democratic country to provide this opportunity to the citizens. But in this, here shouldn't you? Approximately 147 crores in the fellow people of the democratic country India. Think each and every one citizen 1,000 of times before electing the representatives candidates in election from these political criminals, political thugs, traitors, anti-socialists, separatists and anti-democrats etc. as your representatives and entrusting them with the leadership of our government. In the government structure, the defense forces at our border of country and the police force domestically are carrying out their departmental duties based on the government principle of security in related of the country and people. The judiciary, too, works to maintain the country's administrative and social structures smoothly, based on the government principle national and public in related of welfare and security. People and country, this is to ensure concerns welfare and security of the government structure, system which is essential for ensuring in the position of ruling party the stability of the state. But if you, my fellow citizens, every 5-year term periods once through election carelessly go to the polling station and casually elect like these political criminals, political thugs, traitors, separatists, anti-socialists and anti-democrats as your representatives, entrusting the power them to conduct the government, how will decrease the crime in the country? How will be the people prosperous? How can they prosper? Can people be safe with their lives and property in the country? Regarding the country, the people, their welfare and security, the social structure of the people, the government's administrative setup, the government structure, the democratic system that all the political rights, political security, and political freedom of the people will even our individual safety remain intact under these political criminals and political thugs, etc. whom you have elected as your representatives through elections. You, the 98 crore voters who voted for such thousands of people yours representatives of them in the election, are the ones who must answer for this. Here, as a citizen of a democratic country India and the president of the Anbu Udayam Sembootsei M. Subash Babu, my only decision is not the final one. The independent decision of you, my fellow citizens, is an election, which is ultimately decisive in this Anbu Udayam politics in democracy. According to the Representation of the People Act 1951, in the democratic country of India, the president of the Anbu Udayam party Sembootsei M. Subash Babu I have decided that, while I have the right to exercise my franchise as a voter, I no longer wish to vote in elections merely as a voter. Since I do not have the right to contest as a candidate and participate freely by the ruling party in the political arena, as an Indian citizen and a Democrat of the Republic of India, Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu, I have decided that, until as a ruling party these people's representatives in the government provide citizens with complete that political rights, political freedom in elections, and opportunities to exercise political protection for democratic participation, as guaranteed by the Indian Constitution, I will no longer vote in elections. If our political right to contest as candidates freely in elections is denied to us, and we are unable to exercise freely that right, and our democratic participation is limited only to voting as a voter in election, then what benefit will to us, as citizens, gain only from holding elections? That contested as a candidate in elections Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu, I ask. As an Indian citizen of the Indian democratic nation, with citizens' fundamental political rights as an Indian citizen according to the Indian Constitution 1950. As a person possessing both the qualifications of a voter and a candidate for electoral participation according to the Representation of the People Act 1950 and 1951. As the president of the Anbu Udhayam a political party registered with the Election Commission of India, and as a member of the Indian social system. Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu, I ask my fellow citizens, my fellow countrymen, and my fellow voters, how should I conduct myself politically? How should I participate in elections? What kind of Democrat should I be? As a fellow candidate and as someone living within the social, political, and democratic structures of this Indian nation, I ask. What right do these people's representatives, our fellow voter elected from the position of candidate through elections by my fellow voters, have to determine the measurements extend them to which all the legitimate rights of those citizens, as per the Constitution, should be implemented administratively at department level in the government structure? Who granted them this right? In the Indian democratic country, did the voters who voted for these representatives in the elections where they contested as candidates something grant them any such right? The Anbu Udayam suggests the Election Commission of India that we should first examine who these individuals are or. At the same time, the Anbu Udayam am well aware that the Indian public, as citizen voters, are indirectly without knowing them strongly compelled to vote only for these candidates of the ruling party's opponent party and their directly or indirectly allied parties. While the Election Commission directly exerts pressure on those seeking candidate eligibility, the President Anbu Udayam I learned that from what happened in my case in my field work time. Therefore, I as a proper politician I have to be accepted as legitimate all the actions and atrocities of these tyranny of the cruel in democracy merely because they are as representatives of our elected mind. Fellow people through election. As a ruling party and opposition party their alliance parties in these members in the Union Parliament and State Legislative Assembly in the central and state governments. That you the Election Commission of India can't force me the President of Anbu Udayam Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu. I will not even consider them flawed Democrats. They are far even worse than that fake Democrats. Furthermore, I hereby declare to the Election Commission that as I have voted in all the elections held so far, after this I will not vote for these candidates. I declare that I will not vote for any candidate contesting in the elections, and I will not even vote for the noter, none of the above, option. My option OOB, only one below, which allows citizens to express their dissent if they do not wish to vote for any candidate on the list of the candidates contesting in the relevant constituencies, where the election is being held alternative to candidates newly introduced to the voters by the Election Commission of India in the Indian democracy. If I were to vote on this basis, it would not only be a great humiliate to the democratic system on my part, but also a stain on the entire democratic process. As a Democrat, I do not want to cause that disgrace upon this democracy, upon our Anbu Udayam evolving political regime, which will be the next stage in the evolution of political regime after this democracy. While the defense forces, police, and judiciary within the government structure on the country people security measures are struggling to reduce crime and treason, anti-social activities, anti-democratic element etc. in the country. If the citizens of that country, hiding under the guise of democracy, joined on party in the name of politics, that elect some of these being political criminals, political thugs, anti-socialists, traitor, separatists and anti-democrats etc. as their representatives through elections, and allow them to run the government, if we entrusting them these criminals with leading the government, thereby undermining departmental all their efforts of this government main structure, that executive, parliament, legislature, judiciary, elected and controllers and auditor general of India there. How can the officials working on departmental level having within that government structure responsibly and securely to perform their departmental duties properly in their respective fields? Is it possible for them? It is impossible. The citizens forget that of our representatives' duties elected through elections in those correctly guide to their officials of government departments. Official, they are the ones who have to act according to the ruling party's ideas. And without understanding this fundamental government structure, selling their representatives wrongly person at time of election without your clear decision on who will lead them in government. Then the citizens themselves become anti-democratic forces against themselves. In a democratic country, why do these very citizens, using their political rights in every election, elect these political criminals, political thugs, anti-socialists, traitor, separatists and anti-democrats etc. as their representatives like this, thereby forfeiting their casual lives and peace of mind, giving up their lives and possessions after election for once every 5 years? And it's essentially getting to tired human bombs against themselves, causing themselves frustration over democracy, destroying themselves without making the right political decision in the election day after day. In a democracy, is this necessary for these citizens? I am compelled to mention here this sorrowful matter, which serves as a warning to the citizens in the democratic country. And I state here this on the basis that Anbu Udayam Kachi Sembootsei M. Subhash Babu, I has been forced as a fellow citizens to politically present to my fellow people here this democratic warning. If elections are conducted properly and fairly in a democratic country, everything will be all right. At the same time, in democracy, if the citizens of the country properly understand their political responsibilities and act properly their political duties accordingly in this election periods, they can protect their political rights at every stage without losing anything from them to the rulers they have elected. I present this fundamental democratic political principle of Anbu Udayam. This is a democratical in power philosophy root in the psychology of Anbu Udayam politics, which states that a person who follows, adheres to, his own moral code, morals, self-moral, will not commit a mistake and will not worry about the law, but a person who violates his own moral code will commit a mistake and will not fear the law. Hereafter, in world, in the democratic countries, in my fellow citizens, if you know this politics, you will no longer lost anything at your political rights in your democracy framework at any time. In a democratic country, citizens, you always keep silent on the way. You long period observe closely the politics of the country, and all keep it in your mind. That are to expose it for one day in election. Still act cautiously on that day at that time. This is a democratic decision-making process of the every ordinary citizens in the democratic country. You are not weak in any country. You will show it to them in election results how stronger you are in your politics. No one should know about what we are thinking else times. This is the one type of moral ethical fear that we, as a citizens, instill the fear to the rulers in power, the official, the representatives, the political parties and the media. Even if they are not bothered about these moral ethics, they are not afraid of law, they are not afraid of the fellow people. But surely they will be afraid of that silence of the fellow citizens that does not expressing in the words what we think. This is what we need to create to them to choke their political decision-making processes in democracy. This is valuable and worthy the powerful democratic weapon of Anbu Udayam politics. When citizens use it correctly, their representative, ruler, they will listen attentively to what is happening. Anbu Udayam citizens' own politics.